The video opens in a male prison. Juan Oliver, eager to make a strong first impression at his new job as a prison officer, decides to visit the facility a day before officially starting, leaving his pregnant wife, Elena, at home. This fateful choice alters the course of his life. During the tour, he learns that most of the inmates are hardened criminals who have no fear of the consequences of their actions because they know they will never leave the prison. While being shown around, a piece of debris from the dilapidated prison ceiling falls and knocks him unconscious. He is then taken to the empty cell 211. As the chaos escalates, the prison officers, anticipating the imminent violence, flee the scene, abandoning Juan, who remains unconscious at the epicenter of the riot. The inmate seize control of the high-security wing, triggering a full-scale uprising. When Juan regains consciousness, he quickly grasps the gravity of his predicament. Realizing that revealing his identity as a prison officer would be a death sentence, Juan decides to disguise himself as an inmate. He conceals his badge and pretends to be a new prisoner, adopting the nickname Calzones to blend in with the others. The riot is led by Mala Madre, a formidable and feared inmate who holds significant sway among the prisoners. His leadership is vital in keeping the revolt organized and under control. Juan successfully convinces the other inmates that he is one of them, claiming he was just incarcerated that day for homicide. When he finds them destroying the prison's cameras, he advises them instead to cover the cameras so they can later use them during negotiations, controlling what the authorities see and don't see. This move not only solidifies his cover as an inmate, but also earns him Mala Madre's trust, who begins to take Juan under his wing. The scene then shifts to the prison exterior, where a SWAT team arrives and takes up positions on the roof of the prison. Mala Madre discovers that among the hostages are a group of Basque ETA terrorists. Aware of the political sensitivity surrounding the ETA prisoners, the government decides to proceed with extreme caution. Mala Madre addresses the inmates, expressing frustration that their repeated demands for better conditions, directed at judges, newspapers, and district attorneys, have long been ignored. However, he asserts that with these 3 hostages, the government will finally be forced to listen. The prison authorities and the government enter into negotiations with Mala Madre, who leverages the hostages to demand improved conditions for the inmates. The presence of the ETA members complicates matters further, introducing layers of political intrigue and tension, which in turn sparks riots in other prisons as well. Mala Madre eventually comes to regard Juan as a valuable ally, enlisting his help to draft their demands. As Juan's role within the prison becomes more secure, the danger surrounding him intensifies. His dual identity is constantly at risk of being exposed, and any mistake could lead to his death. After drafting the demands, they meet with the government envoy to present their terms. While frisking the envoy, Juan discreetly informs him of the hostage's location. The demands include allowing visitors to the prison every 2 weeks and abolishing solitary confinement. As the envoy prepares to leave, Mala Madre insists that before any demands are met, one should be allowed to contact his pregnant wife, as he is deeply concerned for her well-being. The envoy agrees, offering to take Juan to the phone. However, as the door begins to open, an alarm suddenly blares, prompting Mala Madre to take the envoy hostage. It is initially believed that one of the 3 hostages has been killed, prompting the SWAT team to prepare for a breach. Juan quickly rushes to the camera feed, showing the hostages to prove that none of them have been harmed. His quick thinking earns him praise from the other inmates. The scene then shifts to Juan's pregnant wife, Elena, who gradually learns about the dire situation her husband is in and decides to go to the prison. Meanwhile, Apache, an inmate, discovers the truth about Juan's real identity as a prison guard after contacting a friend and the police using a secret cell phone. As Elena arrives, a riot breaks out outside the prison, with people demanding information about their loved ones. They are met with maximum force by the authorities. In the chaos, Elena is brutally beaten by the police while trying to find out what has happened to her husband. Juan, deeply concerned for her safety, insists on getting information about her condition. Mala Madre demands a full list of those injured in the riot. The authorities respond with a brief list of only 4 names, which enrages the prisoners, who suspect that the police are withholding information. In their anger, they decide to execute one of the ETA prisoners. However, one intervenes, proposing they cut off an ear instead, a brutal task he is forced to carry out himself. Later, he summons Juan for a private conversation. Juan is led to a secluded room where the door is closed behind him, and several Mala Madre's men surround him. Nervous that his true identity has been uncovered, instead, Mala Madre shows Juan's cell phone footage from a different camera capturing the outside riot. The video reveals that Elena was brutally beaten by Utrilla, another prison guard, who then left her lying on the ground. Juan demands to confront Utrilla in person. Mala Madre, holding Juan hostage, leads him downstairs. Once inside, Juan, enraged, confronts Utrilla with the damning footage. Juan demands to speak to Elena, but instead, he learns the devastating news that both she and their unborn child have died. In a fit of rage, the prisoners begin to viciously beat Utrilla. Desperate, Utrilla loudly exposes Juan's true identity as a prison guard, pleading with him to tell the truth. Instead, Juan kills Utrilla, fully committing himself to the prisoner's cause, having lost all will and purpose tied to his life outside. Though Mala Madre and his cohorts are privately furious, they choose to leave Juan alone, respecting the ruthless act he just committed. Following the escalation of events, an envoy from the president's office arrives to meet the inmates. Juan comes in carrying Utrilla's body in a plastic bag and informs the envoy that he is responsible for Utrilla's death. He warns that this is just the beginning and threatens that the 3 hostages will be killed unless their demands are met immediately. Juan delivers a speech asserting that they cannot be trusted because their only goal is to quell the riot and return to the old ways. He sets even tougher demands than those previously established by Mala Madre, insisting on public assurances on television that the promises will be kept. Although Mala Madre is infuriated by being overshadowed, he acknowledges that Juan is correct. Mala Madre receives a call from the negotiator instructing him to collect a file. The file reveals that one Oliver is a prison guard. Mala Madre dismisses it as merely a piece of paper and returns inside, telling the negotiator that they are attempting to provoke him into killing Juan. The negotiator reassures him that if he agrees to the previous demands, he could be back on the streets within a year. The film's conclusion is both tragic and thought-provoking, delving into themes of survival and the dehumanizing nature of the prison system. Juan, initially a man just trying to do his job, undergoes a profound transformation. The distinctions between prisoner and guard become increasingly blurred. The government refuses to meet the demands and deploys the GO team. Apache kills Juan and severely injures Mala Madre. During a government inquiry, prison officials express regret over Juan's death, but assert they did their best under the circumstances.